Hi, I'm Kayla, and this is my story. I wonder how I got so lucky to be saved by a God with so much grace. And as I look over the past year, it's just been a roller coaster of emotions and experiences. And like my notes in my phone in September were frat house addresses, and now they're all gospel songs and Bible verses. And it was just for a long time I thought that I could live a life where Jesus was only present once or twice a week at Bible studies or at church, and I understood the gospel, but I'm realizing that I never really allowed God to fully enter my life. I wasn't raised in a Christian home going to church, but I became involved in Young Life in middle school and attended the small groups and monthly meetings and sometimes attended church with my leaders. But I was really in it for the fun until I accepted Jesus Christ as my Savior the summer after my freshman year of high school when I went to Malibu Club in Canada. Before this, I never understood that being a Christian meant having a personal relationship with God. And so for about a month, things were awesome, and I was reading the Bible frequently and praying a lot. But once school started again, I went back to focusing on grades and sports and boys and friends and work, and I kind of just saved God for Young Life events and like the occasional Sunday. And this occurred basically throughout all of high school until I started applying for colleges, and I was trying to figure out what I was going to do for the rest of my life in the real world. And I struggled trusting God when I ended up committing to Eastern Washington University because it was the last choice on my list. When I look back, I can see how God used my freshman year as part of his divine plan. And so when I went to school and I had the freedom that I never really had, I entered the party scene, and my parents knew about it, and they let me know that it was okay to make these mistakes, but it wasn't the real me. I the most important thing for me was realizing that God forgave me for these sins and that I had no reason to hold on to them because they made me feel so poorly about myself. Um, as the school year went on, I joined crew and attended the weekly meetings, and it was always a good refresher, but my weekends were still what they were in the beginning, and I just was not making decisions that really were what I used to be. It wasn't until I got accepted to come to Foot of the Rockies and spend 7 weeks of my summer in Colorado that my weekends sort of began to change. Raising support and allowing God to take control of the situation and trusting that he would lead me exactly where I needed to go was difficult because support checks came in pretty slowly, but there were multiple times when I was just I'm going to drop the trip, I'm not going to go. But then eventually I just decided, okay, I have to have complete faith, and I bought my plane ticket 3 weeks before departure, and then 3 days before I was supposed to come here, my trip was 100% paid for. And it's just moments like these when I can't doubt that God was working, and that I have so much faith and love for him, and I'm just growing in Colorado every single day closer to him, and I'm seeing how he's worked in my life and how he's working now. And it's my testimony doesn't have a dramatic situation or an audible voice from God that suddenly changed my life, and many events and people led me to where I am. But it isn't over yet, and I'm learning to love and pursue him more every single day. And I have no doubt that the Lord knows my plans for me, and plans to prosper and not to harm and to give hope in a future. So that's my backstory. What's yours?